Right on, guys. How you doing? It's Ray here, the gray-haired guy in a gi. Tales from the mat. I have no idea what episode it is, but that's okay. Today we're here. Chris Sutherland. We just had a fantastic seminar at Manama Athletics, and we haven't done one of these Tales from the Mat interview live in quite a long time. So today's a great day. Chris,
thank you for having me, Ray.
Seminar was fantastic. Not too much information. Started with a nice warm-up, nice takedown, into a really nice transition. Things that definitely white to blue belts need to work on. Lots of great questions were asked. I had a lot of questions. I still have more, but it's all good. So give me your plugs. Where do you train at? Where do you teach at right at the moment?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me, Ray, again. I know I thanked you already, but
that's all good.
Ray and Ryan, organized this, and it was much appreciated. So I'm out of Fit Plus Martial Arts in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I train under Scott McLean, decorated black belt and a longtime coach. And I've been training since about 2008 and got my black belt and just 2 years ago, so 2022. So,
oh, wow. Fantastic. Scott is a great guy. He's a pioneer for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts. Remember, he put on MMA events too?
Yeah.
I think it was Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah. I think I either went to the last one or second last one that he had. I think it was TJ Grant was there.
Okay.
Jason McKenzie was fighting Drew Thicket, I believe.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
And Tristan Johnson was out of our gym
God,
as well.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
So they are all on that card. So it was,
when you started with Scott, what location were you at? 'Cause I know he's been at one.
We were at the under the Payless kind of Dartmouth, Main Street, I guess, or the 107. Yeah. So he had two sides. One was under the Payless.
Is that where like the boats and the cars were?
Yes, that was the boats and the cars, and then we actually took over the Titans gymnastics one over the other side as well.
Right.
So he went there, and then we opened a satellite location in Halifax, yeah. And then we switched to the start of Main Street gym. Okay. So that's where we're at now.
Right, yeah. That's a great spot. I haven't been in there, but now we'll be visiting.
No, for sure.
So when did you, what's your first time doing martial arts? Have you always done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or did you like other things as well?
Yeah,
Were you a Kung Fu guy, or what did you do?
I did a bit, like most kids growing up in the 80s, of Taekwondo.
Perfect.
So I, tried that, but just wasn't disciplined enough to kind of stick with it at that younger age. And I was more of a team sport guy growing up, so I played a lot of hockey throughout my years.
Okay.
And then, lifted weights and that type of stuff after high school, and then kind of got into jiu-jitsu right around my 30s-ish. And then focused on jiu-jitsu, and then about 4 years ago I started dabbling in Muay Thai. My schedule just allowed me to do a bit of Muay Thai, so I do like a bit of the striking arts as well, but jiu-jitsu or grappling is kind of my first love.
Of course. Well, I like to even hear you were showing the guard passes and half guard, and you're like, yeah, but remember these strikes, and I'm just like, yeah. Always got to keep your mind open and your eye open if someone's going to be able to strike.
No, exactly. Like, I know the modern game, a lot of people, love the barambolos or the lag entries, but, if you tried that on a street or an MMA situation, you're probably going to get blasted pretty easily.
I like to call it cement poisoning.
Yes, yeah.
So you've always been with Fit Plus?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Been there throughout my career. Now, I've for work, I used to travel quite a bit, so I did, visit some other gyms traveling. We do have a couple satellite affiliates,
nice.
Samson Martial Arts and Justin Bourgeois' gym up there. So we do
another old school guy. Like
I don't know if you've ever rolled with Justin, but
no, but I've known him for years.
He's a really tough role for anybody. He's a smaller than me-ish type of guy, and it feels like you're rolling with a 200-pound man.
Yeah. That's
great
awesome.
Wrestler. I think he actually did Canada Games back in the day, so he has that base in.
He's been around for very, very long. He's down Spring Hill way, isn't he?
Yep. Down Spring Hill, and
yeah, that's where he's always been.
Yep.
So now, do you like gi, no gi, or you train both?
My schedule right now is mostly gi.
Right.
I did have the opportunity to have a super fight this year, which I kind of had to back out on.
Okay.
FLA Kumite, I was offered the main event or co-main event there.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, I had an injury and had to back out. But I will do gi, and like I was telling you earlier, Ray, I kind of model my game off of Lovato, who is a gi, a no gi, an MMA, and a striker. So I find his stuff really transfers well. I try not to be too lapel oriented in certain situations, so I'll use more no gi grips than gi grips, even in the gi.
That's interesting, yeah. Because I was going to ask you in a little bit, but I'll ask you now. Do you follow a lot of people online, or you prefer people? So obviously Lovato.
Yep. Lovato is probably my biggest one.
Right.
Right now I go in waves. I am Adam Wazinski, I believe. I think he just won heavyweight Worlds, the first European to kind of win. I've been following his kind of guard game. I really like that. He does a bit of the the tilt sweep or John Wayne sweep into a butterfly type game. So I like to kind of, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so I like to be able to manage my distance, and then be able to get up or sweep off of that. So he's a really good resource as well. And of course, a lot of the old school Jiu-Jitsu and MMA guys like GSP. I had the privilege of training with BJ Penn up in Nova Now World, so that was kind of starstruck.
What type of experience was that now?
That was amazing. I actually got my brown belt there.
Oh!
So
awesome.
Yeah, I think we counted them. There was 26 black belts on the mat at one time. And BJ Penn was there, of course.
Is that his affiliation as well?
He's Nova Now, so he actually, I think he went like in 3 years or 4 years to black belt. That's where the prodigy came from.
Yep.
And the first non-Brazilian to win Worlds was him. So, meeting him, and Leo Santos was there, and Didi Peninares, so you'll see him all the time with all the Nova Now guys in the corner. So he's their main guy. Him and Wagney, Wendell formed Nova Now, so it's New Union. They actually had 2 gyms. And we're having a tough time competing against Gracie Baja and the bigger gyms. So they kind of combined it back in the day and
so I'm not sure how much history you're familiar with that. I'm only a little bit, but they all kind of maybe started originally together and they kind of broke away, or do you know anything about that?
Which gym?
Nova Now.
So they started separated and then formed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the New Union, or whatever it stands for in English. So they are, I think Didi kind of focuses more MMA. I think he has his own MMA type students. He does put on the gi a lot. He was one of the main instructors, I think it was like 6 years ago when we were there showing them. So, no, it was great.
Wow. It's so interesting that when you really research the development of all the different associations, how some of them come together, most of them split apart, and they create their own. And, it happens in all martial arts, of course. Every martial art's the same with that aspect. And even happens locally. Some people train at a club for a long time, and they break away and they go open their own school, and they have students, and eventually those students, they either open an affiliate or they leave, and it's just evolution, right? And I think as yourself and me, as you're in the martial arts for so long, you kind of realize it's all part of it.
It is.
Where someone who's only like 2 years would be like, what do you mean that person's left? It's whatever.
No, exactly. It's not as big a deal as you perceive it to be when you first start into martial arts. Like you said, jiu-jitsu and martial arts is very organic, so people come and go. It's like, new people come into the gyms, other people kind of leave, go off and do their own thing. And I don't know, Ray, same as you, we've trained all over the place.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Renzo Gracie said it the best: people go where they're meant to be.
Yeah, I agree with that quote.
That's all. So are you teaching all the time over there, or you're working, obviously?
No, I work full-time, as we said, Department of National Defense, so I'm a project manager with them. But my main nights that I teach are Wednesday guard passing. Okay. So hence I'm a heavy top guy and a lot of guard passing. And then Thursdays we have kind of an intro / beginner / everybody gi class. Oh, perfect. So 2 gi classes, and then I do train with the other instructors as well. So I'm usually a 5-day-a-week training type of guy.
Okay.
Take the weekends off for the family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan that you like to plan out, like a schedule, or you just kind of show up and teach whatever you feel like doing at the time?
No, Fit Plus, I think they have a 16 or 17 week curriculum. So
Nice.
week 1 will be a certain position,
Yep.
and then the instructors will kind of add their own flavor to that.
Okay.
Now, I have the benefit of one of our other brown belts teaches Tuesdays, which I attend, so he kind of sets, okay, we're going to do guard passing. So
Right.
he'll show a guard pass, and maybe I'll add on to his, or maybe I'll do another guard passing. So it's
Okay.
kind of nice. We do have a curriculum that we follow.
That's really fantastic.
Yeah. I find, especially for the beginners, like someone a little more advanced like myself, I can kind of put together my own training schedule. But for a beginner, you want them to hit those key positions and milestones and defenses
Right.
throughout. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we follow that for a week. I know some people do it, for the month, for the week. Lately, guard passing, I've been kind of focusing more on a monthly plan, just adding different passes from there. So some guys are pretty receptive to that, but again, it depends on the individual.
That's good. Yeah, because again, maybe not in HRM, but I know some schools they just teach whatever they feel like at the moment,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, we've been running our program here for a little over 3 years now, but we're always like, what do white to blue belts need to know?
Yeah.
Which is the foundations, the principles, the concepts of the beginner stuff, and that's all we're interested in learning at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, we just develop your own game over time. And when would you develop your own game? Like, you have to be a certain belt level, maybe, do you feel? Or like, you hit that peak and you're like, I'm going to do my own game, or...
For me, looking back, and for new people, I would kind of tell them whatever, like I said, attend the regular classes, but if you have somewheres where you're getting a lot,
Right.
like say like with yourself, I'm getting side control a lot, I would start expanding on the side control game.
Right.
So if you're getting to side control, okay, now can I go for Americanas? Okay, they're defending the Americana and going for a straight, or straightening their arm. Okay, now I can go straight arm lock. Okay, now they're turning the arm down to defend. Now I can start enter the key lock or Kimura. So I would kind of build out from there. The more advanced, like I kind of touched on in today's seminar, you're going to have more systems. So like my system is always to kind of force someone into half guard, and then I know where to go from there. So as you get, blue belt or more, you may have your own system. Which helps. And I find the modern jiu-jitsu game is gearing more towards those systems, so you'll get people that are really specialized in a particular niche.
Okay.
So I may go against, a competitive blue belt that has, he only focuses on this one position. He may catch me. Right? If I'm going against like a high-level blue belt and he's only doing, I don't know, some weird ankle lock, he may catch me, but the rest of the time, if I get him into my positions, I should be able to cook him from there.
Okay, interesting. And that's all in the development of things. I mean, and it just, you have to continue practice.
And with jiu-jitsu, as you probably know, Ray, consistency is key. Like, you can't, show up to class, once a month or, twice a month, and you'll probably pick up a few things, but you got to be there on the regular. Like, I would recommend people try to get out, at least 2 nights a week if you can.
Yeah.
If you're a competitor, you want to be up into the, as many as 5 or 6 days a week training, depending on where you are in the competitive schedule.
Yeah, and that's a whole different aspect.
Yeah,
that's good philosophy, because I know there was a fella, he was originally from Nova Scotia, Doug Rogers. He was a judo guy, and he went to the Olympics. He's very famous, but he trained with Kimura originally. There's a documentary online on YouTube. You can see it. Him training with him, and he said, Kimura, of course, we know, sorry I can't pronounce his whole name, who fought Elio Gracie and all that guys, but he said, if you train 4 hours a day and become champion, you immediately start training 8 hours a day. Right? It's, competitive. Are you into competition, or did you bother with it?
At white belt, I competed. I think that's a good belt to kind of just dabble in, not too much pressure there.
Right.
And then just as I got my blue belt, I got an injury, so I didn't really, compete at blue belt. Purple belt, I competed, and then not too much success.
It's okay.
then brown belt was kind of COVID-ish era. You know, started getting into my groove. But this year I actually competed a fair amount at black belt. So locally, I competed twice with the Atlantic Smashing guys.
Oh yes.
So they run the one out of typically at the exhibition park. They put on events there.
Submission Series Atlantic. Yeah.
So
Graham Lipford. Awesome
Graham's
guy.
a great guy. So
I want to interview him too.
You'll get him on. He's
probably
one of the most prolific competitors out there currently at brown belt and doing well on the world stage.
Doing very well.
You know, my success at the local tournaments, nothing compared to going on the world stage.
You know, when you mentioned it to all the students that were here, because we have in Manual Athletics, we have some younger people too, but predominantly most of us are over 40 or over 50, and they're new. But I could tell they really appreciated when you said that about talking about competition, that you don't have to compete. You can just train jiu-jitsu for, self-defense, physical fitness, just your mental health. And I know a lot of them really appreciated hearing that, because we tell them that all the time, but they're like, blue belts, whatever, But when you hear from an experienced black belt, they're like, oh, okay, it's nice reinforcement to them.
No, for sure.
That, not saying that they're not going to compete, but, so they can't.
Yep.
So, do you follow many competition stuff online? Like, I know recently it was ADCC versus CJI and all that stuff.
I'm a jiu-jitsu geek at heart when I can. So I do follow, I watch both ADCC and the Craig Jones Invitational.
Okay.
I will kind of follow some of the smaller like EBIs and that type of stuff as well. The Worlds, if I can, they're a little harder to watch, I find. I find the paywall of Flow Grappling.
That's a whole nother
I just want to watch. I just want to pay and watch.
Yeah.
But they try to make you do a subscription model. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody follow in particular?
So, of course, Craig Jones, all those guys, but...
Those are the only guys I know.
Yeah. So I follow Craig. I find his game not so much mine, but all the Danaher, Death Squad type guys, Gord Ryan, of course.
Yeah.
And those guys I follow. And again, Lovato Jr., he's on a really big run this year. He's well into his 40s and kind of gives me something to look forward to. I think he won Europeans already, and then Pans, so I think he's going for the Triple Crown, if not the... so at 40 years old, still beating up on those younger guys.
Well, he comes from such good lineage, especially with his father and all that stuff.
Exactly, and he was Bellator champion at MMA and then went through that brain tumor scare.
Yeah. Wow. So, people who want to come train with you, they just give a call, they just show up.
Show up.
Scott welcomes everybody, I know that.
Yeah, Scott welcomes everyone. As you know, we have some regular drop-ins from time to time. Usually they'll, shoot a message to me or to the gym and say we're dropping by. So I'll just, give Scott a heads up. I try not to be too traditional, but I started training in the mid-2000s, so I am a traditional guy trying to move forward.
It's good to be that way.
So I give my my coaches the benefit of the doubt, just to give a heads up.
We have to, in martial arts, you still got to maintain some type of tradition.
Yeah.
Yes, I know people are like, it's okay if you're late and all that stuff. I disagree with that, by the way.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Be on time for class. Yeah. It's respect for your teammates, your instructor, and your art. But if you be late too, whatever. It depends on your gym. So, and we're not too fussy here neither. If someone shows up late, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you show up 20 minutes before class is over, people are already rolling, you're fresh, go home.
Yeah. No, exactly. I agree with that.
And what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought here. Is there anything you do outside martial arts besides like any type of fitness?
Yeah, so as you get older, you do have to build that armor or muscle up. So I do a lot of resistive bands, and depending on the time, if I have a camp coming up, I may do quite a bit of weight training, but I try to run or jog twice a week. I like the skipping if I'm going to go into competition mode, because you just set the timer, okay, I got a 10-minute match. Okay, I'm going to skip
Good
hard
for
for
you.
10 minutes.
So not a lot of people still do that.
No, so I found that one really well. And then I also watch a lot of, if I'm going into like a jiu-jitsu tournament or camp, I'll do like a mini preparation camp for that. So I do like the soccer field sprints and stuff like that too. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, just another couple quick questions.
Sure.
Is there anything you can recommend for someone brand new white belt? You know, I know there's so many things that they should know when they first come to a gym, but you know, and you have different type of white belts. You have the people that are scared, the people that think they're tough, the young male or female that's want to bully people. But kind of what are a couple things white belts should always try to look for, or remember, or think about?
I would say the main thing for, you know, white belt or anybody is just show up at the gym. One of my biggest, I tell all the guys every time, make the decision to go to the gym or not go to the gym once you arrive at the door of the gym. So if you say, I don't feel like going, just go to the gym, and once you get to the door, make that decision. Don't make the decision on the coach, because the coach is going to win every time. So,
that's so true.
So just make the decision at the door of the gym and just get on the mat. So, and don't have an ego coming through the door. So even if you're, you know, a younger guy or a woman, or, you know, I bench, you know, so much, just come in and don't have an ego, and show up consistently. So like I said, you know, if you can only make it once a week, then show up that once a week. If you can make it 2, great. Start building on from there if you can, or stick to your 2 days a week. But consistency and just showing up is huge. The ego and stuff it'll go away over time.
It's funny you mentioned that. Real quick, I think gyms still have that person. If someone has an ego, you put them with that person. They still have a gym crusher. Doesn't matter. It could be a man or a woman. They're going to crush you. So you're like, yeah, you want to be a goofball? You're going to go with that person.
Yeah, and when I'm teaching class, I usually try to partner up people by weight too.
Okay.
So I don't like to have, you know, a 250-pound man going against a 110-pound woman. So I'll put, you know, a bigger guy with a bigger guy, and if we're going to be doing some harder drills, I'll line people up by size, and then go, okay, group of 5, group of 5, group of 5, and the smaller people together. So I find if you have a big enough class, sometimes you just can't. Or, like you said, put that the mat enforcer or the guy that's going to suck the energy bar out of that the guy going hard first.
That real quick funny story, when I was down in California training, I was at Eddie Bravo's club training, and when I was a visitor, and everyone paired up, and there was one guy left, and Eddie Bravo was like, hey, you go train with him, like me. But that's the guy that nobody wanted to work with. And of course, I'm being the new guy. They don't even know me, so they're, who cares about the new guy? So I quickly found out when wrestling with them that, this is a guy nobody wants to work with in the gym. So
no, they're always the tough ones, right?
Okay, you follow any type of martial art movies? I like to ask these fun questions.
So I'm a kid of the 80s.
So, perfect. I mean, this is so good.
There was always that influence of Bruce Lee.
But
if you go back and watch the Bruce Lees, they're a little hard to watch from time to time. But mine was, like, especially martial arts focused, was Bloodsport.
You're right in my territory now. Look out.
The Kumite and the whole background of Bloodsport was great. Moving forward into more today's era, you know, like Kill Bill or like a Quentin Tarantino type one.
John Wick's great.
John Wick is great. Those are probably a few of my favorites. I'm more of a Western type of guy, so I like those Westerns or apocalyptic type movies. Right when my jiu-jitsu and, you know, Muay Thai could actually do something during an apocalypse.
That's right. Exactly. Oh, it's right up my alley, because I was obsessed, you know, my whole life with martial art movies. I did the round of all the Chinese cinema stuff, you know, Flying Guillotine of Death and Five Fingers of Death and all these crazy ones, but obviously Bloodsport and most of Van Damme's movies. Some of them got pretty ridiculous.
The later years, you get scared off a bit. Those early ones were really good.
You know, even early Steven Seagal was awesome. I mean, Above the Law was just so cool. Out for Justice was awesome. And, but now they're really bad. Any books you follow at all? Or do you like reading BJJ books? You know,
I've read a lot of the current BJJ books. So like Hickson's one's really good. I don't know if you haven't read that, definitely read Breathe. Yeah, great book. So I'm a Stephen King guy.
Okay.
So I do audibles. I have about a 25-minute commute, so I tend to listen to audible books instead of the radio in the morning.
I never did books. I always do podcasts every morning. At work.
I'll do that from time to time as well. But yeah, note the books going in.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Last question. I always refer to it as your Mount Rushmore of martial arts.
Yep.
Your top, say, 3 or 4 or 2 people. Could be anybody, living or dead.
Yep.
That you might think,
Hoist Gracie, of course. I'd say he's definitely the OG. Probably his dad, Helio, would be on there. And then I kind of like some of the, like the BJ Penn, the one that kind of transcended both sports. So I'd probably put BJ Penn and maybe Lovato kind of on there, just where they both were, not just one martial arts. They kind of, BJ was known more for his hands, I think, than anything.
Yeah.
So both him and Lovato would kind of be on my.
And what was Lovato's father's name again? Because he was a BJJ guy.
Yeah, he is.
But he was also a Jeet Kune Do guy too. Yep. He did a lot of traditional. Jeet Kune Do is not traditional, but traditional martial arts.
Yep.
But that's what I really.
No, I can't remember. Is it?
Yeah,
it's senior. No, it's senior because it's Rafael Lovato Jr. Yeah. So right now.
Kevin Thibodeau's yelling at me right now.
Hey, senior.
Yeah, senior.
No, we're having a post jiu-jitsu brain moment.
Exactly.
So I'll leave that with Ray and I. So.
Anything you want to finish with?
No, just thanks for having me, Ray, and thanks for putting me on your platform.
Sorry, man. Yeah. All right, guys. That's it, guys. So I'll post this today, and we got a whole bunch of people lined up. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, Ray.